Alrighty, so in September of my junior year, I knew that I wanted to work on Wall Street somewhere, whether it was investment banking or sales and trading. And at the time, I didn't really know the steps that I would need to take to get to that point and to really get an offer at a bank. So, early in September, I attended a panel where Tulane students who had obtained jobs were speaking. And when they spoke about how they ended up receiving their offers at these banks, I was very overwhelmed because the process was just very daunting. I didn't really know that much about the financial markets. I didn't know any technical questions that I would be asked in iBanking interviews, and I hadn't done any networking. So I had all those tasks to do in like a 2-month period. So I really dedicated myself to learning the material and skills that I would need for the interviews. I read the Wall Street Journal daily. I created a lot of Quizlets to learn the technical questions that I would need. And in order to do this, I sacrificed a lot of time. I didn't go out as much as I had in the previous years of college. I didn't end up going abroad, and I really felt that I had taken the necessary steps to be successful. Also, I cold called several alumni just to be able to talk to people who are in the industry, gain their advice, and those conversations eventually led to interviews. So after going through about probably 10 first-round interviews where I either spoke to people on the phone or whether banks came to campus and interviewed me on campus, I actually ended up getting 3 final round interviews where I would fly up to New York to visit company offices and interview face to face with actual workers at those offices. And I was very excited about this opportunity because my hard work had paid off to a certain point, but I also had to close the deal and be able to receive the official offer after these final round interviews. And it turns out that a week or so after I finished these interviews in January, I didn't receive any offers from the 3 companies that I met with. And for me, who really dedicated so much time first semester to preparing for these interviews, and for me not to get those opportunities, it was definitely discouraging. I had to find a way to persist and push through the rejection. All right, so by late February, a lot of banks are near the end of giving their offers to students. And at that time, I still didn't have a job offer. And this was like a very frustrating time for me because once again, I knew that I committed so much time, sacrificed so much, and it really hadn't paid off yet. And out of all the motivational videos I've watched or texts that I've read about how to be successful or how to persist through rejection, I started to question whether the words or the features of those videos were actually were true, and that I was wondering if it could actually happen to me because it turned out that it really wasn't at that time. So at that point, I really had no choice but to learn from my failures in the past few interviews. And like anything in life, if you practice and you continue to have a certain experience over and over, like I did with the interviews, I began to become more comfortable with the interviews. And the last couple of interviews that I had, I felt much more confident, surprisingly. And I went into the interviews with a more relaxed type of personality, and I think it really paid off for me. And I ended up obtaining 2 offers in late February, towards the end of the period when banks were giving out offers. So to see that I was able to push through these difficult times and I was able to stay positive, I think it really paid off for me. So I think some of the big takeaways from my experience is that if you really want something in life, you're going to have to face a decent amount of failures and a good amount of rejection. I think that with each failure, with each rejection, you can take it as a learning experience and you can continue to become more comfortable in achieving the goal that you're striving towards. And additionally, I think a big factor in my success was me surrounding myself with supportive people and finding mentors, because I understand that through those difficult times that I had, I wouldn't have been able to follow through and reach my goal if I didn't have seniors at Tulane who had obtained these jobs that I wanted, helping me along the way and providing me with the guidance and advice. So that was very helpful as well.